And we are live.
Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. and welcome to our favorite part or a great part. I don't know. Is it our favorite?
At some weeks.
We kind of debate this.
Some weeks it is.
There have been some great questions over the last couple of weeks, but this is the Ask Junior segment. Brett Griffin's favorite part of the show, Ask Junior.
He tried to infiltrate. This is what they do when they're trying to be, with Big Brother.
He's spot on about Ask Junior. So, anyways, this is brought to you by Xfinity. They've been a great partner of ours over the last several years, and they're representing us again this year, sponsoring the Ask Junior segment. And so you've been sending in your Ask Junior, #AskJunior questions to Xfinity Racing on Twitter. Hannah Newhouse is going to gather her favorites. So if you don't like them, it's Hannah's fault. But so far, she's been doing an amazing job the last few weeks.
All right, we got a couple good ones here that people submitted. The first one comes from Brian, which we obviously got a great response on last week's April Fool's joke on Mike Davis. What is the best April Fool's joke that has been pulled on you?
Oh boy. That's a tough one.
Got one, Mike?
April Fool's joke? I mean, honestly, I don't know if they were April Fools or if they were just pranks and jokes. I mean, I can think of pranks. You know, one of the best pranks, I don't even think we could say it on a live stream, is one of the best pranks is what you did to Topher. Or Topher did to you.
Topher did to me, yeah.
Topher did to you.
Why can't we say that?
I mean,
we've talked about. I think we've talked about it before on here. Basically, years and years ago, my friend Topher,
Christopher Allen.
Yep. My friend Christopher, he is a friend of his, and this couple that he knew were pregnant with one of their baby, either their first baby or whatever. But he acquired a positive pregnancy test from them, and then put it in my bathroom. And so the girl I was dating at the time is downstairs. I go upstairs to take a shower or whatever, and that thing is laying on the counter. Holy smokes! It was so dirty. That was wrong.
Genius.
Yeah. But what did I do to deserve that? We broke into his house at 2:00 in the morning, and I don't know in what order, but he got a gallon of water, a bucket, a bag of flour, and I think that was it.
No, there was crickets involved.
Crickets, yeah. We might have dumped 2,000 crickets in his room.
In a house.
In his house.
You just don't go collect those things back up real well.
Yikes.
I don't know. We
some good prank wars back then.
It was bad prank wars. This is bad. That one. His ended it. It was like, all right,
okay, enough. You win.
It's getting too personal.
Yikes! Remind me never to pull a prank on you guys.
Let's get serious, man.
The next one comes from Megan Nilsson. Says, my 8-year-old daughter is reading the book Who is Dale Earnhardt Jr. for a class project. In the book, it says that Danica caught the bouquet at your wedding. Is this true?
Oh my gosh. I can't remember. She might have. Yeah. Yeah. I think she did.
It didn't
I never
work.
heard that. I never heard that.
Yeah, I think she did. I think Amy might have intentionally thrown it in her direction.
Here's a little help.
Danica was equally as aggressive as you might expect to make sure she captured. I think it seemed like that there might have been a little plan ahead.
Yeah.
Amy was like, "Hey, I'm going to."
They drew up a play.
Toss it in this direction. Make sure you're standing.
Yeah. Run a slant.
Which I imagine happens. Do women do that?
Yeah.
You're nodding your head.
I wouldn't fight Danica over a bouquet, though. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
She can have the bouquet.
She wanted it that day.
But have you been at a wedding where you have fought for the bouquet?
Oh, yeah. I've been knocked on my butt a couple of times, too, where you go to jump for it, and someone just happens to, linebacker you as you go for it. You're like, it's okay. I didn't need it. I didn't need it that bad. You can have it.
It's interesting. So, if it was guys, I don't know that we would be aggressively going after this
It hit
item.
the floor.
Yeah.
It hit the floor.
Yeah.
Right? Even if a guy secretly was all about getting married, he
doesn't want to seem as if he's excited.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Oh no, not me." You know what I mean?
You lose
Gotta
your
play the
man
cool
card
card.
instantly if you catch the bouquet.
Yeah. Listen, you're jumping for the wrong thing.
You're right.
The next one comes from Biggie Tall. Says the tape on Kyle Busch's radiator. If it was an innocent mistake, shouldn't the pit crew or spotter have picked up that long before NASCAR did? It seems they have binoculars on their own cars all the time.
Well, I think even if they did, even if it was a mistake, and they realize, say that they make the mistake, they probably know it immediately. They probably see it happening. The crew chief's standing there watching the stop, and he's going to go, "Ooh, that's at the wrong spot." But if the car pulls off pit road, he's going to wait, see if NASCAR noticed anything. All right, NASCAR's not saying nothing, so let's just let this go, okay? And everybody kind of just don't touch it, don't talk about it, and don't even mention it on the radio over the digital. And as long as NASCAR doesn't have a problem with it, we're going to leave them out there, because that is a bit of, that is absolutely an aerodynamic advantage. I've gotten debris on the grill. Anytime you add tape on the grill, boy, your car is way better. It adds overall downforce, not just grip on the front or aero advantage to the nose. That air that is now hitting that piece is not only pushing down on that piece, right, and creating additional downforce for the front of the car, but it's also sending more air over the car, over the rest of the car, onto the rear spoiler. The whole car improves. And when we run the races that start in the daytime and end at night, we would always be telling the crew chief our temperatures, so that if they got to a certain point, then we could start adding tape. That you wanted to be able to add that tape. You wanted to do it as soon as possible. So it's absolutely a great tool. And if I'm Kyle Busch or Kyle's crew chief, man, and it gets put on the wrong spot unintentionally, I'm going to leave it there. And I'm going to leave him out there until NASCAR says otherwise, or hopefully they don't do anything about it or ever notice it, right? And for the longest time, they didn't. And unfortunately, when they did notice it, he had to come down pit road and lose all that track position. Maybe then, hindsight's 20/20, and you go, damn, we should have took it off. But it's such a good advantage. He pulls off pit road and you don't get any radio, hey, bring him back from NASCAR. You almost kind of got to take a chance and see if it can stay there. I don't know. I don't know really what was going on in the minds, and I don't know that we ever will know what was truly happening in the minds of the team and the crew chief. But for me, I think they did what they should have done. And NASCAR, if they see it and it is, even if it is 200 laps later, they got to come in and make a change. They got to bring him on the pit road and make him fix it.
Next one. This one comes from the chat, actually, from Aaron Maldonado. We had a lot of conversation about how we thought the next gen cars were going to run on road courses. Mm-hmm. Turned out it was pretty good. How do we think that's going to translate over to dirt?
I think they'll be fine. Even better, right? I think they're going to test the next gen, the RCR next gen test cars going to Bristol or with Friesen, I think, if I read that correctly, to try to make sure that the undercarriage of the car can survive what it's going to go through. I think that they may get away from the diffuser for that race. If you've watched the races this year, you see the nose of the cars are a lot higher than we've seen in years. There's an idea that the more air you can get under the car to the diffuser, the better overall downforce the car has. So they're not trying to seal the fronts of the cars as much, where they're trying to let them gobble as much air as they can. Not be ridiculously high in the air, but they are getting trying to get some air to the diffuser to create overall downforce. So that nose is not as critical to be sealed. I think that bodes well for any of the for anything that might go on in the dirt racing. If we get ruts or the track gets rough or bumpy or anything like that, the clearance that this thing has at the nose, I think it'll be better off for those guys. They're not going to be out there, sliding across the racetrack on a splitter or nothing like that. But I think it'll race as good, if not even better, with that independent rear suspension. It should be a little bit more manageable and fun, I think, for the teams and drivers, the drivers in particular.
Didn't they test it at Lancaster?
I think they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that the independent rear suspension is going to be a benefit for the drivability everywhere they go. That is just an overall better design than the old 9-inch Ford rear end. when it was a 9-inch forward rear end trailing arm rear suspension, they argued. They didn't work independently, so they fought with each other. One's trying to do this, and the other's trying to do that, and it made the car difficult. But with independent rear suspension, all these tracks we go to, particularly obviously the road courses, the cars are just going to be more fun.
All right, next one. We thought it all was an April Fool's joke, but apparently it wasn't. News came out of iRacing and World of Outlaws partnering up, coming out with a new joint effort console game. Do you have a favorite NASCAR video game or just video game in general, excluding iRacing?
Right. Yeah, iRacing for me, absolutely. You know that I'm a big fan of and support heavily. But when it comes to the history of games, I think on the PC side it was NASCAR Racing 2003. We love that. We played it forever. On the console side, Dirt to Daytona. What I love about console games is a career mode. Managing a franchise or anything like that. And so, anytime you can give me sort of that start from rags to riches sort of ladder system in a driving game or a motorsports game on a console, that was a lot of fun. You had to kind of build your character and get hired and develop and this and that and other. So I thought that was well done, and the physics were great on the dirt for that console game at the time that it came out. And iRacing is investing a lot of effort into creating console titles. And the one you mentioned, what's the one you mentioned there?
World of Outlaws. Yeah,
that'll be I think their first console title that they're going to release. And so there's a big future there for iRacing in the console world.
We still play Dirt to Daytona and NASCAR Thunder in our household. I'm
nice.
Like, those games ever break, Dylan's gonna have a meltdown. It's not gonna be good. The next one, and I've seen this actually come up in the chat a couple times as well over the last couple weeks. Who designed the desk? It's so unique. Yeah, your desk.
Mike can answer that.
This table?
Yeah.
Jeremy Fuller, who works in the shop, and Jeremy Fuller, he just does some handiwork and some woodwork on the side. He's really good at it. That wasn't the intention. The intention, we had a desk picked out that we were going to buy, but it was going to be expensive, and it was going to not be here in time for whenever we were going to start the show, right? Whatever year that was. And so Fuller's like, I can do that easily. And he did it in a day or two.
Nick Giambruno did the welding work and stuff with the frame
in our shop. So like about everything else, when we need something built, we just go to the guys that build race cars. Yeah. They can usually do it. Whatever it is you're asking. You build a fish tank. You want to build this. You want to build whatever it is. They can build it.
Roll call. Anyone want to build a table? All right, last one here from Caleb. I know you're really picky about your race car paint schemes, but are you as picky about your hauler schemes? They definitely catch a lot of eyes on the highway that now might be race fans. So just curious. I've never really dove into or been involved in a design of the hauler. And, but I'll tell you an interesting story. When we started racing at DEI, they eventually had haulers with our faces on them.
Mm-hmm.
You remember this, Mike?
I do.
And so, they had the car and a big giant face. And and then there was a year, I don't remember what the years were. Somebody can dive in and tell us. But then there was a year that the haulers were just the logo of the sponsor. No car, no face. And so it was there's interesting opinions on really what needs to go on the hauler. What should you be promoting? What is the best bang for the buck, or the best, the best plug for the sponsors? And so, I've always thought, in my opinion, that the car and the driver ought to be on the hauler so that people know what that hauler's doing. Right? If I see a hauler going up and down the road and it's just the Budweiser, well, I don't know if that's the
supplier.
I don't know if that's a bunch of beer going up and down the road. Right. Obviously, if I'm knowledgeable and I can see it's a lift gate and all that, it's maybe it's motorsports, but is it the hydroplane boat, Miss Budweiser? I don't know what's
Carrying
in there.
Clydesdales,
right? And so I always felt like that some some rendering of the car, and the driver always was kind of helpful in letting you know what was going on with that hauler. And then, the hauler is, like you say, going up and down the road, it's getting all this attention. And people are talking about it. The other truckers are talking to it. I've rode in the truck to Daytona, and all the way down there, every single truck that is on either side of the road, passing you or on your side of the road, is saying, "Hey man, where y'all headed? Where are you going? Oh, cool. All right. Good luck." And so if that's happening in just the trucks, imagine all of the cars that are passing, that are seeing this thing, the impression it's leaving on them. They're going home. Hey, guess what I saw on the road today? Guess who I passed? They're coming through. Oh, they're racing. They're racing over here. That's why they're driving through our neck of the woods, and it starts that conversation. But if they don't see the car or the driver, I don't know that they know for sure what they're looking at.
That's what I think IMSA missed the boat on, because IMSA has some of the coolest looking cars out there with the prototypes.
Yeah.
And I think the Cadillac team might be the only one that when you see their hauler, it actually has like the cars on the outside of the transporter. And other than that, like FAF in them, they just have FAF Motorsports. So if you don't know who FAF is, you're like, well, there's something in there. But like prototype cars are so cool to pass one of those transporters. Like I think it's a huge missed opportunity in other motorsports, because NASCAR does that so well. Like you pass the Penske cars, what's in that car. You pass. I think it's a huge missed opportunity. But
it makes me wonder, is there an iconic NASCAR hauler of all time? And if so, who would it be? Like whose hauler stands out as being like, oh yeah, you remember it?
I think the Penske haulers, now they don't have the cars, they don't have the driver images on there, but that mirror,
that chrome
Penske finish is so recognizable. But again, I don't know whether they're carrying Will Power's car or Joey Logano's car.
It says Team Penske.
Yeah, it could be anything on there or anything in there, but they're recognizable. That's for sure.
I'd go with the old Petty open haulers. Where he'd tow one, flat tow it behind it, and have one on that ramp.
Mm-hmm. Like the actual
43. The open haulers, man. When you see those race cars,
which cars would be on it? Like
the 43.
The 43.
Yeah.
Like the
back
STP
in the 60s. Yeah.
Or in the 60s. Gotcha.
Okay.
And that is it for the questions.
All right, y'all. Hey, appreciate all those questions. They were great ones. Thank you, Hannah, for helping us out there. Remember, Xfinity is a great partner for us, and Xfinity X5 is fast, reliable, it's powerful. I'm a customer. I've used this Xfinity X5 now for almost 2.5 years at at this house that we got, and it was the only provider in the area. I signed up. I'm like, hey, this will be a great experience for me to be a real, genuine customer of Xfinity and use the product without anyone knowing. And boy, it's been great. I've never had any problems, no outages. My security cameras or baby cams, anything that's hooked to this internet wirelessly, it never goes down. I never have any problems. So all my thermostats are ran off this, my Apple TVs, everything. So we're really happy with it. And anyways, appreciate everything they do for us, and hope you guys are enjoying your week. Robert Wickens was our guest today, and he was awesome. Came in here, told us all about his story. He was an IndyCar driver, was in a terrible wreck, overcame so many severe injuries, races in the IMSA series now in the Pilot series, and what an incredible, inspiring story, and a fun guy to talk to, Mike.
Oh, man, amazing, inspiring. Yeah, you said it, emotional. I think everybody, if you're listening on this YouTube or you're tuned in, thank you for coming and doing the Xfinity X5 YouTube Live, but also check out the podcast when it drops later tonight. You'll not be disappointed.
All right. Thank you, Xfinity. They're a proud premier partner of NASCAR. Thank you guys for tuning into the show. We're racing this weekend in Martinsville. Got a little practice Thursday night. Big race Friday night. 250 laps around the paperclip. I can't wait. I hope that everything goes well. And if I get to the checkered flag in one piece, I'm getting right to that hot dog stand, and I'm going to eat 3 of them bad boys.
Yes!
And then and call it a day. So, anyways, y'all have a great week, and we'll